For centuries, the world has watched empires rise and crumble, their ambitions buried beneath the weight of time, their legacies written in blood and stone. But some places never forget. This is Decode Empires, where we uncover the untold stories of power, ambition, and the shadows they leave behind. Deep in the Afghan mountains, something extraordinary is rising from the dust. Not a fortress, not a temple, but something far larger. A project that, by all logic, should not exist. In a land shattered by decades of war and poverty, construction has begun on a massive complex. Its purpose unclear, its funding unknown. The Taliban, once hunted through these same mountains, are now building something in secret. No journalist has seen it. No government admits to knowing what it is. Yet from space, the signs are unmistakable. Something vast is taking shape in the heart of Afghanistan, and the world is beginning to ask the same question. What are the Taliban building? To understand the mystery taking form beneath the desert sun, we must first understand the ghosts that haunt this land. Because in Afghanistan, nothing is ever truly new. Every dream is born from the ruins of an empire. For over 2 centuries, the mountains of Afghanistan have swallowed empires whole. The British marched in with banners of civilization and left in coffins. The Soviets came with steel and ideology and found only humiliation. The Americans brought the language of freedom and left in silence. Afghanistan has been called the graveyard of empires, a place where ambition turns to ash and victory evaporates like smoke. Yet beneath its rubble, something endures. Not a nation, but a will, a stubborn defiance carved into its mountains. Every foreign power that came here tried to remake Afghanistan in its own image. None succeeded, and now, the very force once driven into hiding, the Taliban, has returned with a vision not of destruction, but of creation. In 2021, the world witnessed the unthinkable. After 20 years of war, the Taliban, a movement once scattered, hunted, and broken, swept back into power in a matter of days. But this time, something was different. The Taliban did not return to rule as they once had. They returned with plans and promises, roads, dams, mines, trade routes, words that once belonged to nations, not militias. In public, they spoke of rebuilding Afghanistan's economy, ending dependence on the West and opening the door to new allies. In private, they began something else. A project so vast, so secretive, that even within their own ranks, only a few know its true purpose. And so, deep beneath the mountains that buried empires, a new force builds in silence. What they are creating could redefine Afghanistan's future, or drag the world back into its oldest nightmare. This is the story of that project, a story hidden beneath layers of secrecy, ambition, and fear. Inside the Taliban's secret mega-project, the first clue to this mystery isn't found in a top-secret government file, but right here, in plain sight. It's called the Kosh-Tepe Canal. On the surface, it's an audacious engineering project, a 285-kilometer waterway designed to divert water from the Amu Darya River and irrigate over 500,000 hectares of desert. It's Afghanistan's biggest public works project in a century. Officially, the goal is food security, turning barren land into a breadbasket. The Taliban claims it will make Afghanistan self-sufficient, ending the cycle of famine and foreign aid. But the Amu Darya isn't just Afghanistan's river. It's a lifeline for its downstream neighbors, Uzbekistan and Turkmenistan. For decades, water from this river has been a source of tension in Central Asia. Now, the Taliban is building a canal that could reduce the river's flow by as much as 25%. Uzbekistan's cotton industry, a pillar of its economy, depends on this water. Turkmenistan's agriculture faces a similar threat. The Taliban knows this. They're not just building a canal, they're building leverage. In a region where water is more precious than oil, controlling the Amu Darya means holding immense power over your neighbors, without firing a single shot. But water is only part of the story. The real treasure lies beneath the ground. Afghanistan is sitting on an estimated $1 to $3 trillion worth of mineral deposits. Lithium, copper, iron ore, rare earth elements, the building blocks of the 21st century economy. During the American occupation, these resources were surveyed, but remained largely untapped due to instability. Now the Taliban controls it all, and they're not waiting. Reports have emerged of a flurry of secret meetings between Taliban officials and representatives from China. Beijing is hungry for the minerals needed to fuel its tech and green energy industries. China's Belt and Road Initiative, its grand plan for a new Silk Road, runs right along Afghanistan's border. For years, the instability in Afghanistan was a major obstacle. Now, the Taliban is offering a deal, stability and access to minerals in exchange for investment and international legitimacy. This brings us back to the mysterious complex in the mountains. Satellite images show more than just a canal. They show new roads being cut into mineral-rich regions, the construction of what appear to be processing facilities, and heavily secured compounds. This isn't just about farming. It's about creating a vertically integrated supply chain, from mine to port, controlled entirely by the Taliban and their partners. They aren't just digging a ditch. They're laying the foundation for a new economic empire, powered by Chinese capital and Afghan resources. This project could transform the Taliban from an isolated regime into a key player in global trade. But who is really in control? While the Taliban presents a united front, the group is a complex web of factions, commanders, and tribal interests. The Haqqani network, a powerful and more hardline faction within the Taliban, is known to have deep ties to both foreign intelligence agencies and the new mining contracts. Are they building a new Afghanistan? Or are they carving out their own personal fiefdom, funded by foreign powers? This secret project is a gamble on an epic scale. If it succeeds, the Taliban could achieve what no empire before them could: unite Afghanistan and project power across the region. They could become a mineral superpower, holding the world's tech industries hostage. But if it fails, or if infighting for control of this newfound wealth tears the movement apart, it could plunge the country and the entire region into a new cycle of conflict, a war fought not over ideology, but over water and wealth. The world watches, holding its breath. The mountains of Afghanistan, which have seen so many empires come and go, are once again the stage for a grand and dangerous game. The ghosts of the past are stirring, and the future is being built in secret, one truckload of earth at a time. What rises from the dust could change everything. Thank you for joining us on this journey into the heart of the mystery. What do you think is the true purpose of this project? For months, the world has watched in silence. The images, the whispers, the unconfirmed reports, they all point to one truth. Something extraordinary is unfolding beneath the Afghan sky. The Taliban's so-called national project is no longer a rumor. It is real, but what it represents remains shrouded in mystery. Officially, the Taliban claims the project is part of an energy initiative: dams, railways, irrigation systems. But unofficially, the details vanish into secrecy. Entire regions have been restricted to journalists. Local villagers are relocated without explanation. Even contractors, some brought quietly from abroad, refuse to speak on record. It is as if a new world is being built, brick by brick, out of the reach of truth. It is here, in the silence between what is known and what is hidden, that the true nature of this project begins to reveal itself. Afghanistan, long trapped between wars and empires, may now be trying to forge its own. And the Taliban, once the symbol of resistance, is now becoming the architect of ambition. Across the centuries, Afghanistan has been used, invaded, and abandoned. Its land carries the bones of soldiers from every empire. But now, for the first time, the architects of its future are not foreign generals, but the very men once hunted across these mountains. The irony is not lost on history. The Taliban who once destroyed now build. The question is, what are they building for? To the outside world, it is infrastructure. But beneath the surface lies a deeper game, one that could reshape the region's balance of power. At the heart of this project lies control. control of Afghanistan's vast untapped wealth, and control of the routes that connect Asia to the Middle East. For decades, Afghanistan was the missing link in Asia's dream of connectivity. Too unstable, too dangerous, too unpredictable. But now, under a regime desperate for recognition, the opportunity has returned. If the Taliban can stabilize the land and secure the corridors, Afghanistan becomes the beating heart of a new trade empire. A modern Silk Road. A Silk Road not of culture and commerce, but of power and dependency. A new Silk Noose. It is a transformation both symbolic and strategic. What was once the root of empire now becomes the network of control. For China, it is a path to resources and influence. For the Taliban, it is survival, a way to replace isolation with profit and sanctions with partnerships. But for the rest of the world, it is a warning. Because whoever controls Afghanistan's trade corridors will hold the pulse of Asia. For ordinary Afghans, this project means little yet. No electricity, no jobs, no schools, only the promise of something vast and unseen. The Taliban speaks of progress, but progress under whose terms? The foreign powers who once left in failure now return as silent investors, their flags invisible, but their money everywhere. The cycle continues, empire reborn through trade, not tanks. The Taliban's secret project is not merely construction, it is a test of whether power can be built in silence and whether legitimacy can be engineered through infrastructure. It is the birth of a new Afghanistan, perhaps, but also the blueprint of a future the world may not yet understand. And now, the world begins to notice. Western powers, once confident in their withdrawal, scramble to interpret what this construction means. Some dismiss it as propaganda. Others see it as the beginning of a new geopolitical axis, one that could redraw the map of influence from Beijing to Tehran. In Washington and London, satellite reports raise concerns. In Moscow and Tehran, quiet meetings are held behind closed doors. The question everyone asks is the same. Who controls the future of Afghanistan, the Taliban, or those building behind them? The Taliban says they are building a nation. Critics say they are building a fortress. But the truth may lie somewhere between. A new kind of empire, hidden in plain sight. Not built on conquest, but on corridors. Not on ideology, but on influence. A silent empire of infrastructure. Once, foreign powers came to Afghanistan to rule it. Now, Afghanistan builds the roads that others will one day travel, and perhaps depend upon. The world may call it development, but history knows another name for such power: domination. For 2 centuries, empires have risen and fallen on this soil. The British failed, the Soviets collapsed, the Americans withdrew. But from the silence of their ruins, a new force now builds. Whether it will bring prosperity or peril, no one knows. Only the mountains will remember. This is Afghanistan, and this is the secret the world was never meant to see. If stories like this matter to you, if you believe the truth should never be buried under silence and shadow, then stand with us. Subscribe to Decode Empires, where we uncover the hidden forces shaping our world, one story at a time. History never ends, it only hides. And here we decode it. Across southern Afghanistan, far from the eyes of journalists or foreign officials, something immense is unfolding. Bulldozers work by night. Concrete foundations rise before dawn. Entire valleys are being reshaped, yet no map marks their purpose. It is a silence filled with machines, a silence that builds. From above, the scene is almost ghostly. A convoy of old Soviet-era trucks rumbles through the emptiness, their cargo hidden under heavy tarps. We see grids appearing on satellite images where once there was only desert. New highways slice through ancient trade routes, connecting remote provinces to unknown destinations. Reports circulate quietly among analysts. Signs of a dam, perhaps a power corridor, or even an underground network stretching toward Pakistan. In a nation barely able to feed itself, the idea of such construction defies logic. Who funds it? Who designed it? And most importantly, why keep it secret? The Taliban calls it a national infrastructure initiative. But those who study the region believe it may be far more than that. We see archival visuals of the Taliban's newly established ministries, men in traditional robes reviewing blueprints on worn-out tables. Their statements are cautious, their numbers vague. Officials claim the project will provide energy, water, and employment. Yet when pressed for details, they offer only smiles and silence. Meanwhile, satellite analysts notice patterns too precise to be improvised. The alignment of new roads seems to match known Chinese transit corridors across Central Asia. The proximity of some sites to rare earth deposits cannot be ignored. It is here that whispers of a hidden partnership begin. Unconfirmed shipments of equipment believed to have arrived through Pakistan, engineering tools resembling Chinese manufacture, and yet Beijing remains officially silent, denying involvement while quietly hosting Taliban delegations in luxury hotels abroad. In this new game of shadows, denials often speak louder than words. This is not the Afghanistan the world remembers. There are no battles here, only blueprints, no gunfire, only generators. For 2 decades, Afghanistan was a battlefield. Now, under the Taliban, it is becoming a construction site. But the question remains, construction for what purpose? A new nation or a new power base for someone else? Experts call it an enigma of development. A project too advanced for Afghanistan's economy, yet too coordinated to be chaos. Some suggest the Taliban is seeking legitimacy through infrastructure, to show the world they can rule, not just fight. Others warn of a deeper motive: control. Whoever builds the roads builds the roots of power. Whoever controls the water controls the people. The Taliban may not only be rebuilding Afghanistan, they may be re-engineering it. Afghanistan has always been more than a country. It is a bridge between worlds, between empires old and new. And once again, great powers are circling its deserts, drawn not by ideology but by opportunity. The new great game has begun. China's interest is mineral. Beneath Afghanistan's soil lies an untapped fortune: copper, lithium, cobalt, the metals that fuel modern technology. The Taliban controls these resources but lacks the expertise to exploit them. China, with its Belt and Road Initiative, has both. A partnership between the two could alter the balance of global trade. Pakistan stands as the mediator, the translator between ideologies. To Islamabad, a stable Taliban government means strategic depth and economic access. To Beijing, it means safety for its investments and a new gateway to Central Asia. And for the Taliban, it means legitimacy, a seat at the table of global trade. But where some see opportunity, others see threat. Russia and Iran watch cautiously, aware that a Chinese-Taliban alignment could reshape Central Asian politics. Western governments, meanwhile, whisper of sanctions and covert monitoring. They remember too well that every time a great power touches Afghanistan, history repeats itself, first as ambition, then as downfall. We see drone footage gliding over unfinished highways and silent industrial sites. Construction continues, but no logos, no signs, no flags are visible. The Taliban has learned from history that concealment is power. And so, the world observes from afar, uncertain whether to believe what it sees. Officially, the Taliban builds for its people. Unofficially, it builds for the future, a future where Afghanistan is not a pawn on the board, but the board itself. The new great game has begun, not with armies, but with architects, not with invasions, but with investments. And once again, Afghanistan stands at the center of empire. In the quiet of the Afghan night, as the hum of generators fades and the stars return, one question remains: are these the foundations of a nation's rebirth, or the scaffolding of something the world is not yet ready to face?